Good evening, I'm back. I am your host, Jack Remington of Jack Remington Political Analyst. Today we are here at the Jack Remington Political Analyst channel to officially endorse HARRIET HAGEMAN as the candidate for Wyoming State House Representative seat. We reject incumbent Republican Liz Cheney as she has proven herself to be unfit to represent the constituents of the great state of Wyoming. Yes, there are 4 other candidates running in that primary. Why do we endorse HARRIET HAGEMAN? Because House leader, GOP leader, Mr. Kevin McCarthy has endorsed her, HARRIET HAGEMAN, as well as former President Donald Trump. In politics, if you want to follow a particular party, you let your leaders decide, hey, well, we're going to endorse so-and-so. That starts the ball rolling. Let the leaders choose a candidate at the party that you belong to. Apparently, Liz Cheney forgot about that easy-to-understand political principle. Me personally, I don't know that much about Ms. HARRIET HAGEMAN, but I do know about Liz Cheney. My support for Ms. HAGEMAN is a total rejection and a no-confidence vote of Liz Cheney to hopefully end her political career. I have a friend of mine whose daughter heavily favors women candidates because she's a girl. She asked me point blank, why am I against Liz Cheney, thinking I was picking on a woman? But that's an easy question to answer. Liz Cheney turned on President Donald Trump when it seemed like that the deep state finally got enough to disqualify Trump from ever running again. This January 6th manufactured insurrection. I'm reading to you the FBI report, quote, FBI finds no evidence that Trump and his allies were directly involved with organizing the violence of the Capitol riot. Listen to me. If you really think that Donald Trump had anything to do with that January 6th frat kids getting out of hand, okay, or the equivalent of a drunken brawl party, okay, then you know what? Then you keep believing it. The real insurrection was taking place in a former country called Burma. Jen Psaki and Joe Biden couldn't get the name right. That was the real insurrection with real guns where they shot real people. They took over all the radio and TV and communications. They took over the internet. They took over the hospitals. They took over the garrisons. That was the real insurrection that was going on. Very little coverage about that. And I'm going to say this one more time. I keep saying this on all my videos. Donald Trump has one crime he really committed, or supposed crime. He vetoed every big spending bill the Democrats kept putting across his desk, and he wasn't going to let them go crazy like this. That's why he had to go from day one. They knew that if Hillary Clinton won 2016, she'd have rubber-stamped everything, and everything been hunky-dory, and all their friends and relatives got all the contracts, this Build Back Better thing. Where do you think that money was going to go to? It was going to go to their relatives and their friends, the contracting business. I want to get back to the article here. The FBI has found no evidence that Trump was directly involved in organizing Capitol riot violence. It also found little evidence of organized plot to overturn the election results. Quote, 90 to 95% of these are one-off cases, said former official, end quote. And that's true. They call them lone wolves. I mean, I'm surprised not in this article. I guess the FBI didn't want to get tip off too much. The FBI hasn't found any evidence that the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol was part of an organized plot to overturn the election results, Reuters report. This is Reuters, by the way, that's recording this article. The officials also said that the FBI has, quote, so far found no evidence, end quote, that former President Donald Trump or, quote, people directly around him were involved in organizing the violence, Reuters reported, end quote. There was no grand scheme with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all these people to storm the Capitol and take hostages. And there was not one hostage that was ever taken, was there? No, there wasn't. So now you got to remember the FBI is not happy with Donald Trump because he fired James Comey a couple months into his presidency because he had to. He should have fired him from day one.
Tonight, the gulf growing between pro-Trump Republicans and those in the party who speak out against the former president.
Our duty is to the Constitution.
Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney once again embodying the battle for the GOP. In an unusual move, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy endorsing Cheney's primary challenger, Trump-backed HARRIET HAGEMAN.
Wyoming deserves to have a representative who will deliver the accountability against this Biden administration, not a representative that they have today that works closer with Nancy Pelosi, going after Republicans instead of stopping these radical Democrats for what they're doing to this country.
Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik joining McCarthy in the endorsement. A spokesperson for Liz Cheney saying of Hageman's supporters, quote, wow, she must be really desperate. It's a stunning rebuke of a Republican incumbent and one-time leader within the party who has drawn ire from her colleagues for speaking out against Trump.
Do you believe President Trump should be speaking, or former President Trump should be speaking at CPAC this weekend?
Yes, he should.
Congresswoman Cheney?
That's up to CPAC. I've been clear in my views about President Trump and the extent to which following January 6th, I don't believe that he should be playing a role in the future of the party.
She was one of 20 Republicans who voted in favor of his impeachment in the wake of the insurrection, saying in a statement at the time, the President of the United States summoned this mob, assembled this mob, and lit the flame of this attack. McCarthy now escalating what has been a steady campaign against the Congresswoman by some members of her party, including Trump. Less than 2 weeks ago, the Republican National Committee voted to censure Cheney and Representative Adam Kinzinger for their role in investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Unfortunately, too many in my own party are embracing that former president, are looking the other way, are minimizing the danger. That's how democracies die.
The resolution deeming the House investigation a, quote, Democratic-led persecution of ordinary citizens engaged in legitimate political discourse. That phrase sending shockwaves through Washington and beyond.
So I'm going to play the clip about Harriet Hageman, and I'll play that now.
Liz Cheney supports Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, and she has aligned herself with the radical Democrats.
It's an at-large district, so everyone basically votes on election day. In a recent poll, you were beating Liz Cheney handedly. I'm wondering what happened in that state. There was a time when Liz Cheney, the daughter of the former vice president, was hugely popular. What's changed?
What she's doing back in Washington, D.C. Wyoming hasn't changed. Liz Cheney has changed. She aligned herself with Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Adam Kinzinger, and the staunch radical anti-Trump crowd. And as a result, she's focusing solely on the January 6th Commission. She's not representing Wyoming in Congress, and she's pursuing policies that we disagree with. So we're going to hold Liz Cheney accountable for the decisions that she's made over the last year and a half.
She voted to impeach Donald Trump famously after the January 6th protests. The former president and Kevin McCarthy have both endorsed you. They will be coming to Wyoming between now and Election Day. What did those endorsements mean to you, and does that change the race at all?
Well, I'm very honored to have the endorsement of President Trump, Leader McCarthy, as well as Liz Stefanik. She endorsed me last week as well.
Right.
That she does not associate with the Republicans at all. She doesn't attend the meetings. She isn't a part of the caucus. She's not a part of the strategy. She really has totally and 100% aligned herself with the radical Democrats, with Nancy Pelosi, Jamie Raskin, those kinds of folks.
Yeah, the progressives like Jamie Raskin, absolutely. And by the way, that's not campaign speak right there. The New York Times had a whole report on the fact that Liz Cheney's not spending any time back in her home state of Wyoming. In fact, in that article from the New York Times, it quotes Liz Cheney as calling Wyoming residents crazies. Again, the source is the New York Times. What did the people back at home make of that?
Pretty angry and pretty horrified that that's how she views the folks from Wyoming. But I think that that's just further evidence that she doesn't understand who and what we are. But Liz Cheney never really lived in Wyoming. She wasn't raised there. She's not a Wyomingite. She doesn't understand us, and she doesn't understand our values. I think she was very good at covering that up for a period of time. But once you started really looking into her background and her history and where she lives, she's lived in Virginia the entire time she's been in Washington, D.C. You understand that she's not from Wyoming. Just this last weekend, I covered over 1,000 miles in 3 days, actually 2 days, going to an event in her alleged hometown of Jackson, the county GOP Patriot dinner.
Right.
Liz Cheney was apparently in Wyoming, but she didn't come to that dinner. And then to a barn dance on Saturday with another 300 people. Liz Cheney isn't coming to Wyoming because Liz Cheney doesn't care about the people of Wyoming.
Grassroots campaigning, that's going to make all the difference. Harriet, come back and see us.
Liz Cheney is the daughter of Dick Cheney, and he was former vice president under George W. Bush. He was president from 2001 to 2009. Now, Donald Trump spoke out against the Iraq War, and that was the first strike against Donald Trump as far as they're concerned. Everyone understands a daughter trying to defend her father. No matter what side of the issue what it is. Donald Trump exposed her father, Dick Cheney, as a warmonger. He was a former CEO of Halliburton. She was born in Wisconsin somewhere, and she's lived in Virginia almost all her life. She lives in McLean, Virginia, not too far from Jimmy Carter's sister. So lo and behold, Donald Trump comes on the political scene in 2015. I'm sure she voted for Hillary. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. They all come out and said, we're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and even though they were Republicans. And shame on them. Barbara Bush did it too. They all got on some site somewhere, and I've seen it. They all said, we endorse Hillary Clinton. They went against their own party. They went against the Republican Party, their own candidate, because Donald Trump smashed down Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush raised more money at the time than any other candidate in the history of politics. Liz Cheney's another Oprah Winfrey, as far as I'm concerned. For 20 years, people kept asking her, you keep inviting candidates on your show, and she had Donald Trump on her 6 times. He was toying with the idea of running for president because he was so upset with how things were being run. Oprah's answer was always, well, I'm not going to discuss my personal politics. Well, she kept it hidden for a long time, but when Barack Obama came out in 2007, man, she was all in. Then it came out. and she's all in the revolution. Oprah forgot what got her rich. She's worth $4.1 billion. She forgot what got her there. Liz Cheney forgot what got her there. They let her carpetbag from Virginia to Wyoming to run for the House at large seat. People didn't really mind that. I didn't even know that myself until just recently. Liz Cheney forgot that people love Donald Trump. Good, big mouth or loud mouth, stick his foot in his mouth, mean tweets, whatever. People love Donald Trump. Why? Because he fights for us. He fights for you. Okay, he represents America. Okay, the Democrats will do nothing for you. They just want your vote. They say, oh, you're such brown skin, we love you. Black skin, we love you. And oh, the women, we love you, women. You know, and you see how they treat their women, right? Biden destroyed the Title IX for women's sports. Let these transgender guys, they're winning every college race, knocking tens of thousands of girls all across the country, Division I, Division II, Division III, junior colleges, knocking all their scholarships. They're taking away from these young women who've trained for most of their teenage life for the athlete scholarships, and then they can't get it because these transgenders are winning them all. Okay, that's how they treat women. Where are these feminists? They're nowhere to be found. But Liz Cheney, she forgot that Donald Trump, and he's the de facto leader of the Republican Party. Whether you like him or not, whether you could hate it, you hate his guts. You just can't stand Donald Trump. But he's still the leader of the Republican Party, and he's playing his cards close to the vest what he's going to do. And he's playing it actually pretty good, to be honest with you. I wouldn't reveal what I'm going to do either. There's some camps that are saying, I mean, I don't think he's going to run. I don't think he's going to, and I said this in the video last year, and I'm saying it again today. I think Donald Trump is not going to run. Okay, they're going to have a ticket. I'm going to say, you know, DeSantis, Kristi Noem of South Dakota. But Liz Cheney, she did calculate that he was going to lose in 2020. And I'll read the part of the Intercept article, which really kind of roasts her. Oh, the article is called "Liz Cheney's Stand Had Nothing to Do with Principle. Ask her sister." Now, you know, Liz Cheney has a lesbian sister that's married to a different woman, and they adopted some kids, whatever. So let me read the article. Don't expect much sincerity from the same Wyoming representative who once threw her sibling overboard for political gain. And I remember that too. For the Cheneys, power comes before everything. Running for Senate in 2013, Liz Cheney threw her sister overboard. Quote, "I love Mary very much. I love her family very much. This is just an issue on which we disagree," she told viewers on Fox News. Quote, "Liz, this is an issue on which we disagree. You're just wrong and on the wrong side of history." Mary, a Republican operative herself, shot back on Facebook. Liz has been a guest in her home and has spent time and shared holidays with her children. Mary's wife, Heather Poe, wrote, "To have her now say that she doesn't support our right to marry is offensive to say the least." End of quote. Now, of course, Dick Cheney sided with Liz because for the Cheneys, power becomes before everything. Liz Cheney's own political predicament is a function of her own political miscalculations. Cheney, like many in both parties, sensed that Trump would lose in 2020. House Republicans would lose seats, and a reckoning would give an opportunity for her wing of the party to rise again. I'm going to stop this article for a second. I want to emphasize this reckoning would give an opportunity for her wing of the party to rise again. Her father's wing of the party, Dick Cheney. Keep that in mind. She spent 2020 positioning herself against Trump. After she publicly defended Trump nemesis Dr. Anthony Fauci, Representative Matt Gaetz pushed to have her removed from leadership. She held on and drew the battle line sharp over the next year. And I remember that too. Her calculation that Trump would lose panned out, but Trump managed to draw out millions of new voters, and House Republicans picked up seats instead of losing them. Trump's hold on the party was secure, even as he incited a mob to ransack the Capitol. Now, that last sentence I don't agree with. I mean, that's the Intercept's slant here that they just couldn't help put in this article. I'm surprised someone didn't call him out on that. He did not incite a mob to ransack the Capitol. He didn't. I mean, they've already proved that. Cheney wasn't wrong to condemn the incitement and the assault on the Capitol, but doing so was the only option left to her. None of this is about principle. This is about power. The Trump wing of the party has it, and Cheney wants it. Her team admitted as much on Wednesday, in parentheses. If Democrats think she should be any less dangerous with it in her hands, that the world would be any safer, they're wrong. That part they got right here. So if you're going to throw your own family members over for political gain, what's that tell you? She thinks she knows better than the FBI, who's been trying to nail Trump from day one. She thinks she knows better than the NSG, the NSA, the CIA, Nancy Pelosi's own House crew. Liz Cheney thinks she knows better than them. There are some people that are rooting for Liz Cheney because they can't stand Donald Trump. They don't understand that Donald Trump was protecting our grandchildren's wealth with the Department of Treasury, our assets, okay? Barack Obama couldn't wait to get that $10 trillion to give it to the bankers. The bank's too big to fail, but if the banks were too big to fail, why'd you give them $10 trillion of our grandchildren's wealth? Okay, why'd you do that? He did it. No one opposed him. You guessed it. Someone had to trickle down somewhere through them. And then we got Donald Trump. And they said, well, he increased the deficit too. Yes, he did, but nowhere near what Obama did. I think Donald Trump increased to 1.45 trillion. And there were deals that were to be made because they kept pushing, hey, look, we need this, we need that. And Donald Trump was negotiating with these clowns. Hey, look, I'll let you spend this much, but that's it. Oh, don't worry, Mr. Trump. You know, they kissed, like he says in his video, they kissed his ass. And they did. Mark Zuckerberg went down there and kissed his ass and turned around and stabs him in the back. This video is about Liz Cheney. She dug up the feud. She believed Nancy Pelosi's press that no, we finally got him this time. We're going to impeach him. This time it'll pass. He'll be out of office. You know, and that's never been done before. And it wasn't even legal to try to impeach someone who's already out of office. He was leaving. He was 14 days. You have to remember, the rhinos, Republican in name only. Liz Cheney's a rhino. Mitt Romney, Republican in name only. He's the only senator in American history to vote to impeach his own president and his own party. Why? Because he exposed Mitt Romney's son working with Hunter Biden in the same Ukraine company. And Donald Trump exposed these clowns, and that's his crime. Well, that's his second crime. His first crime, he won't let him spend his broke. Second crime is he exposed these clowns for what they are. Now he's exposed Liz Cheney. He exposed Dick Cheney again, who certainly didn't need to be back in the news. People of Wyoming, please, watch this video again if you have to. The message is quite clear. You know, we cannot have these rhinos running our great state of Wyoming. I'm a citizen of California, but you know, we visited Wyoming last year. Man, we were there for a few weeks. We had a blast. We're 20 minutes away from putting a down payment on a second home. We may retire in Wyoming. So that's why this is the first video for the midterm races. I wanted to make sure I put Wyoming first because I think it's a great state. And I'm a big fan of all things Wyoming. And we don't want someone like Liz Cheney who's going to stab us in the back and just throw us under the bus just because, you know, someone called her father out for something that happened 30 years ago, whatever it was. You know, who cares? Well, what Liz Cheney was doing was destroying the Republican Party. Liz Cheney, you know, and she's close to my age. I mean, you would think she would know better. The Democrat Party is a party of hate, okay? And they hate you, they hate me, they hate Donald Trump for defending America, putting Americans first. They hate us because we're trying to keep illegal immigrants out, okay? They get in line like everybody else, like my grandfather did from Italy. You know, you get in line like everybody else, your turn will come. That's just the way it is. Line's long for everybody. We don't want to hear this shit. You can just skip the line. No, that's too bad. You're still breaking the law. And so, you know, and Donald Trump was law and order. Well, he did. What did he do? That's all we heard for 5, Russia, and it turned out to be false. And now Hillary Clinton was spying on Donald Trump. Oops. And then now nothing but silence now. Well, let's go back to January 6th. FBI already told you. They got Donald Trump's cell phone records. They got his daughter's cell phone. They got everybody. Roger Stone, they got them all. Not one phone call that they could trace or replay through the NSA phone capture. Hey, set up 5 guys on the corner of D Street at a certain time at 2 o'clock when he's giving a speech. Hit that left wall. Here's some map. It didn't happen, folks. Didn't happen. The Democrats and haters wish that would happen. Okay, but it didn't happen. People of Wyoming, please, vote for Harriet Hageman. Now, if she turned out to be a rhino like Liz Cheney, then we'll get her out the next term. But for right now, you have one job to do, Wyoming voters. Vote against Liz Cheney. Vote for Harriet Hageman. Do us a big favor, Wyomingites. Get rid of Liz Cheney. Kick her out. Let her join the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi and AOC. See how she does then. Thank you. If you stay with me this long, I'm trying to make this a great video for you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patronage. Please subscribe, share, comment, like. I'll put more. We're going to have other races up here and research them yourself. I'm just a starting point. But I gave you my reasons why I want Liz Cheney gone. I want her gone. So I'm going to close this video out. Wyomingites, do us a favor. Come August 16th, get in that line and you vote. Vote for Harriet Hageman. Get rid of Liz Cheney. It's a no confidence vote. If I said something bad or that you understand, leave in the comments below and I promise I'll read all the comments. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you.